How's it going, everybody? It's trying a bit late. Things weren't working. Yay, upgrades. But it wasn't. I don't know that I can specifically blame all of the upgrades. Let's turn this down just a bit here. The upgraded OBS, which is the software that I use to stream, and then I actually just noticed this is now off. Nothing is perfect today. We're doing it live. Good enough. If we are desktop yet? Real time. Gosh. So OBS was just continually recrashing. I did upgrade a major version. So like, I'm not actually sure what the issue was. I went back through and double checked to make sure I didn't miss any plugins that I didn't update recently. And theoretically I could have run it in like safe mode, but then I don't have WebSockets, and I'm pretty sure WebSockets were the thing that were somehow crashing. And we were looking at doing WebSockets today, so I'm like, I need it. But I hit last night I was gonna schedule the stream, and then the AMD drivers just crashed. Yeah, roll it back. 29 to 30. They're, at least as far as like all the plugins and stuff go, there really wasn't much that changed that should affect anything. And so it seemed like a pretty safe upgrade, and I upgraded yesterday. Had no issues. But then I also like my AMD drivers are crashing. And last night I went to schedule the stream, and then the AMD drivers for I presume CPU. That's the only AMD thing that I got in here. It just crashed. So then I had to clear CMOS again, and I updated a whole bunch more drivers this morning, completely unrelated to all the streaming stuff, and then I opened up OBS, and then OBS was crashing. I don't know. It started working, and I'm like, I'm not gonna touch it, and I'm not gonna dig into it more until the stream is done. So hopefully, fingers crossed, that our WebSocket stuff is working, so we can actually make this stuff happen. But this works on the screen, right? Might actually have it on the screen. Oh. I need to I started stuff out of order because it all of a sudden started working, and then how should we do this? Is that going to connect now? I wonder if my WebSockets, I hope my WebSockets aren't just messed up. Oh, wrong side. We'll get it. There we go. I'm looking at that. Why are we not loading now? Oh my goodness. It would be less of an issue if I wasn't I'm literally planning on using it today, like in a big way. Is it just that? It might just be that. Anyways, you're here to see if we are desktop yet. What is desktop? What are you thinking? Yeah, even if this one is having problems. It's like the Hulk thing. All of the videos have problems. It's just going to be how annoying and invasive it is. This one just happens to be more so than some of the others. Let us why would that not be working? Alright, I'm gonna... Does it show? Yeah, it does show. Okay, cool. I can click around live and see my new setup, slightly new setup. Vertical, horizontal, yay. Alright, so it's just that so this down there is using the WebSockets. This one, studio mode. Nice. Following Tauri a bit. So we are, if I can stop being annoyed by stuff and focus in on the stuff that actually matters. Chat. Why are you not working? What? Oh, wait, what? All right, let's just open up the URL and see if we can connect locally. Today, if we can get anything working today, oh my goodness. It works. What is going on today? Oh my. I bet that's gonna show up in the browser. Right? No. Yes? There's no errors. What did I do? What did I do? Well, we might not have chat today. I might have actually borked it, which might actually roll into a little bit of what we were looking to do today. Is Tauri a good fit to package a Leptos app, or are they both too opinionated about the backend? So I would say no in general. There are going to be ways that you want to kind of think about it. It's not like a true front end and back end. We have at least two streams where we've talked about Leptos in some decently sized capacity. One stream, I think we completely focused on Leptos. Leptos is kind of you write Rust and you get a front end, a router, or a piece that hooks into a web server router, and then the serverless parts of it. As it stands right now, you could set things up to where you get the front end. That wouldn't be a problem. That would work sufficiently fine as compared to anything else that you're packaging up: HTML, CSS, JavaScript. The was it last stream, I think? Last stream, I want to say it was last stream. I'm also like running on not very much sleep because my kiddo has not been sleeping good. My youngest is having a rough time, so nothing is working. I didn't sleep well. It's a good thing we have Thanksgiving coming up this week, and I'm not deep into things this week. But I want to say it was last week. We looked at, towards the end of the stream, we looked at Leptos specifically because we were interested in seeing what it might look like to pull in parts of the Leptos backend. Yes, it was. So we were looking at the IPC communication in Tauri. Where should we go for this? Tauri. Do we have a features? Is this it? I think there's a graph somewhere. Is what I've got in the back of my head. Maybe not. Hey Chris, good to see you. Yeah, so speaking of Chris, we were nerd sniping each other like I don't know, 2 weeks ago. And Chris is big into Leptos. If you're interested in Leptos content specifically, Chris has got a bunch. So feel free to check out their channel. So what we were interested in is the way that the front end and the back end communicate within a Tauri app. Could we set things up to where Leptos serverless, where we could use that portion of it? We still wouldn't get like the back end, but we don't really need it. The routing isn't as important as a component when you're building for something like Tauri. If you don't have the routing portion of it, it's not as big of a deal. But if we could get the serverless and hook it up to where we write Leptos serverless, like the function portion of it, could we have it then generate the Tauri API stuff on the JavaScript side of things and the command side of things on the Rust backend, and have all that wiring just work? So we can use the functions still. We're not like losing any or gaining any specific functionality. It's just that by using Leptos front end and Leptos functions for the serverless bit, it just creates the thing for us and does all the wiring for us. So then it feels just more Leptos-ish or typical Leptos than it would if you're just focusing on the front end part of it. So yes, I high level, yes. If that's something you're interested in, feel free to join the being nerd sniped by it. It's one of those things that we're like, oh, that'd be really cool to make. And if we nerd snipe enough people into getting interested in it, maybe it just becomes a thing. As people get interested and start to collaborate on it. Okay, anyways. Chat. Chris, I was talking to Chris yesterday and I'm like, I did an upgrade in OBS. I think it worked fine. Something didn't work fine. Hi John. Stuff might not be working today, which is unfortunate because maybe the thing that I pushed yesterday, I wonder if I just broke all the other communication. I'm still not sure why we're getting a loading. That feels weird. Yeah, oh, I was like, I have like a full day. I'll just do all the upgrades. And it seemed fine. It worked. Everything was working. And then I got the AMD driver crash again, and I had to clear CMOS. And then I wake up this morning and stuff isn't working. So I did a couple more other driver upgrades, and then I started OBS, and OBS was crashing. I'm at a loss. So, hopefully, I mean, I might just ignore this stuff not working, which is unfortunate. Try actually, if you're in the mood to try things, John. There's a new command. That one might actually work. It's what? My lighting is I don't know if I need that light done. Maybe I do. What? Can you all see that? I've got just like a strip of outline there, which is just bugging me. Okay, all right. That made it worse. Depending on the lighting outside, if it's like a gloomy day or whatever, I'll get, is it just literally the edge of the, also getting like, yeah, oh, because I moved the camera. I tell you, today is just a... All right, we're gonna shift this. There we go. I think it was the edge of my monitor actually. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure if the I'm gonna be able to get the chat to work today. It's possible that I broke it yesterday when I was doing. Here, I'm gonna just do it. Senior OBS engineer. I don't know that that's OBS. This was the jazz that I was working on yesterday. That works. Apparently I broke literally everything else. So this integration is a browser just hitting WebSockets to streamer.bot, which is this. And that starting to roll back into actually the topic at hand. This has a WebSocket connect or it has the option to turn on a WebSocket server, which I have. And the chat there, that over there, some of the other scene stuff that apparently is broken is all coming from this, which we've done a bunch of it on stream. If that is also something that you are interested in. I did just do that yesterday. Entirely possible I broke something. Because I changed around my WebSocket stuff a little bit. So I'm grabbing the events. Or the events and actions. So it's entirely possible that I broke something in that. We've got a little bit of time today. I might poke into this a little bit because it starts to roll a little bit into the sockets that we're caring about, and then we'll get into the Tauri app. We had tooled about a bit with before streamer.bot kind of came out of the scene / before I was pulled it into my workflow maybe. Like I think it was a thing, but I just hadn't decided to use it. We were tooling around with the idea of actually creating a Tauri app to do some of this. Thankfully, this came about because I did not feel like working with the YouTube API. So for the most part, that's handling the YouTube API stuff, which I am entirely happy with. And let's grab the latest. So I'm wondering, you just learned I added the circle mask. Circle mask. Do I have the circle mask somewhere? But yes, if you are familiar with OBS and streaming stuff in general, Finite Singularity, who streams on Twitch, they've been doing a whole bunch of stuff with OBS and shaders. I do have a bunch of their plugins, which it's been really neat to see that stuff evolve. And this like glowy stuff around my fingers, and around the outline there, that's the stroke plugin, I think it is. Which is actually this is also the stroke and glow plugin, I believe. Just realized I actually hit the top of my my little box. I'm at the top of my little box there. I've been like shifting around my desk too, and I must have just bumped my camera. Nice. Yeah. I mean, even just the mask stuff is really nice. But I use a green screen, so that's less of a big win for me. But okay, so what I changed yesterday was messing around with the WebSockets. If we go to, well, let's run this dev server. Unintended OBS stream. Like you started an OBS stream and you weren't intending to? Okay, so chat should be where we want to go. Oh. 5173. Different project. Okay, there we go. So now if we chat, we don't have any pending actions. It's coming through. Chat event. Okay. Oh, it's backwards. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah. Okay. So they're coming through. We're getting the actual. And this is the bit that this is probably the thing that convinced me to use Streamer.bot is it handles all of this, and I can like connect to this via WebSockets. Then I don't need to mess around with any of the YouTube API stuff. Granted, now I'm at the mercy of if this breaks anything or breaks with the API, but it's not on me to fix it, which is really good. I've got enough stuff that I've got myself into this maintaining. I don't need more things to fix. So it's coming through, but we are just not getting the events. So it's entirely possible that we're filtering it out now. We should be getting messages. So if I go to enqueue that message, we're not getting any. We're not getting any messages. What the heck? Bet you that's going out of scope. Okay. If we look at the chat page, we are filtering on events for raw action and chat event. If we would go to like the home page, I think it is. Just change the routing on this. So the root route React, partly because we are using React 3 Fiber. We did a whole bunch of those playing around with React 3 Fiber and shaders. Well, no, a little bit of shaders. Some Blender to make the models. So a whole bunch of this was done on stream. And I've been like moving around and shifting it off of stream because some of that isn't necessarily like interesting content per se. So 3JS scene works, that loads, but the question is, are we actually getting events? Because I'm seeing the connecting and opening, but I am not seeing these fire. Oop. If we put them below the subscribe, my subscribe actually has the listen event. Yeah, I think I just screwed those up. I just got an interesting message from my wife. Interesting. So my wife is a nurse and got an interesting message from her. We need to run out for a few minutes. Well, I swear it's one of these days. Yeah, no, it's not a bad thing. That's thanks, John. But it's it's a funny thing. I don't really want to like get into it, but it's there are laughing emojis involved, so I might just need to step out for 10 minutes or something. Do I just leave the stream running? I feel like that's a little bit weird, but things can't get any weirder, I guess. Okay. Okay. We can wait a little bit. So maybe we'll go a little bit longer, and then I can come back to that. All right. Okay. So it seems like the socket stuff is working. We might just ignore that for the moment because I kind of want to get into the, like, it might be just me having moved stuff around. Stats. I can look at the stats page. So the stats was working, and clearly I need to put like tests or something in here because I mean, it could very well be that something with the socket stuff is still not cooperating, which wouldn't bode well for what we want to try to get done today. Yeah, see, like I'm not seeing any. If I trigger this, you should see this, and I should see. Okay, no, this is gonna go straight to OBS, so that's separate. But our stats aren't actually updating. Is it really like flipping over the edge here? My eyes glow. I think that was unintentional, but I kind of like it. I set it up and I'm like, oh, that's weird. Oh, whatever. I think it has something to do with my chroma key, because I have a chroma key for the green screen. And I think there's some interaction there. And I just haven't bothered to come back to it yet. Okay, no, never mind. My OBS won't get any smaller. It actually doesn't fit on my side monitor anymore, which is really annoying. So I'm gonna have to fix that. It literally won't go any smaller because of the vertical panel, and I have it on a vertical monitor. Okay, so my stats aren't working either, because I mean it's a little bit hard to see here, but that should be going up. So what happened? It was literally working yesterday. What did I do? We might be having issues with the WebSocket stuff still. So we are getting in a connection event. On open. So we're getting open. So the connecting and open. We're getting a WebSocket connection opened. And we've got a socket send. So if we just take these out, we actually are subscribing to stuff right now. Okay, we're getting a loading state. So this is using a library called Affection, which is, this version is built around structured concurrency, which is really nice to work with. But the integration with React definitely needs a little bit of elbow grease. You have to use generators, which, especially when working with something that's like sync async, starts to get a little bit confusing. And sometimes I find myself missing, like I forgot to have a yield or something like that. And I'm also using JavaScript, so I don't have a TypeScript to help me out. Okay, socket send on message. We are returning the response. So we should be getting the events. Create socket. Initializes and then returns these. We are getting the open state. And then once we have the socket, let's see, channel is coming in through a closure. So socket, should probably make this bigger. So we should be getting a response. Okay, we're getting a response. And then we're returning it here. So this should give us get events. Okay. So we're definitely getting events and actions. Okay, we're getting those. And we should have a subscription to these bits now. Of which, anytime we trigger anything that would show up, we should see it. So if I re-enqueue this message, the stats page is not specifically listening to it. Do I have a... Anytime I get a message, I should be logging it out. So I'm literally not getting a message right now. Yield socket subscribe is a generator. So it's doing a socket.send to subscribe to a list of events. And then on socket. I mean, it could have something to do with this. We are listening for message events on the socket. If we do the on and once are just event listeners, I think they use whatever that web API is directly. Yeah, it doesn't say here. So could it be destroying the message stream? It feels odd, but it's maybe possible. Let's move since we have it on the closure. I think we could probably put it up here and we should still get events. And this is doing a socket send. Yeah, let's give this a shot. Okay, subscribe, status okay. Now if we re-enqueue the chat event, we're getting a boop. There we go. Now the question is, did we get any oh, I'm on stats. Chat. Hey, there we go. We could probably just push this up real quick. Hotfix. Guess we just subscribe to events straight away. This must be like something with it going out of scope. Because I'm returning. That is definitely interesting. Okay, let's just push this up. We're gonna do the hotfix thing. Message listener at socket creation. Okay, that's on Netlify, so it's gonna run a build. Hopefully we get a thing coming up right now. But I think at this point we have now confirmed that its WebSockets seem to still be working. So it wasn't actually a WebSockets issue, it was just my specific change yesterday, which means I want to shift on over to this that I had on the list. We worked on stream this. It is at a high level, it's an app where you can create multiple windows, and each window, when you create it, I feel like I keep moving over. When you create a window, you can create it with any color, so you can use it as basically a way to redact information while you're making a screenshot. What a fancy readme page. So many buttons. I know. It came out. I'm like, ooh, buttons, fun. I was going for the fancy vibes. Also, like, I need to go back and like have a refresh on all these things. I think a lot of it is still current, but definitely like my website could use a little bit of I don't know how. Those could probably use a little bit of attention, but for another day. So we're gonna grab this. We're gonna pull this down. I don't remember if I actually have it pulled down yet. We do. Okay, great. Go ahead and open that. Let's here. I can go over here. I'm gonna look at the logged in. Whoops, nope. And guess I need to log into Netlify. No. I was gonna check to see if it's built yet. It's gotta be built, right? Here, let's just refresh it. Yellow. Refresh. And fingers crossed it loads. That still says loading. Not a great sign. Not a great sign. The when when you're like logging into sites and they started adding those social buttons, I feel like everything added log into GitHub or log in via Twitter or whatnot, or log in via Google. At first, it's like, oh, that's really nice. Then I don't have to think about it. But actually, it makes it worse because now I can't remember which social account I made it with, because some of them started by adding like GitHub, and now they have GitHub and Google and, well, maybe not Twitter anymore, but like they've got like 5 services, and you're like, okay, did I do it when only one of these services existed as an option and it's now not my preferred option, but my preferred option wasn't available before? Okay. Published, so it should theoretically be working. Hey. Some of it is not, though. It's fine. If we don't have the drop, I'm okay with it. So chat, maybe I think it's just the overlay that's not working. Maybe that's working. It's still loading. Seems like the chat's actually working. Stats appear to be working. It's not that. Alerts. My alerts still don't seem to be working. That's fine. I don't need those on. We'll deal with that later. Okay, but everything else should be working. All right. Let's see if we can make some progress here. So the idea here is that if we go ahead and run this, npm, I think we got npm on this. Yes, npm run Tauri dev. This should give us a build. There we go. Okay. Yes, speaking of Bevy, what was that, 2-3 videos ago? We pulled in one of Chris's, Chris did a workshop with Bevy on 2048, and the 0.12 branch we used to get a Bevy app and put a Tauri Rai web view on top of it. That was fun. Love to see the kudos in chat. So this is the app. When we click create, we get a new window. We can move this window around, and the idea is that with this color picker, we can copy the color of a window, and now I can put it literally over the top of something. Like, I don't actually want to show you the fact that I'm compiling all these things. You can cover it. Now, my KS mode version of it is, what if chat could do this? And just randomly open up windows on my stream? I think that would be kind of funny. But also, like, the goal here is to see our Tauri app integrating with a WebSockets endpoint to do, I guess in this case, window functions on Windows. So it's, I mean, the goal ends up being chaos mode, but also it serves to be a pretty good example of what does it look like to use some of this. So if we go ahead and look at the plugins workspace, there is, we touched on this briefly, think it was last week. I hadn't played around with the WebSocket plugin yet, and we were looking at it because we were trying to understand the different ways we can do communication. And I think one of the things that we were looking at one point was to use a different transfer or communication mechanism as opposed to using IPC. IPC does some serialization. There's security reasons to do that, but it also means that depending on the use case, that serialization could have a performance effect. So there's been a few experiments on what other options could there be that won't, it won't negatively affect that security aspect of it, but might serve or have different pros as opposed to the IPC layer that we have. What if people can send images on it? No. I'm all for chaos mode. That might be a little bit too chaos mode. No. Maybe like opening up gifts or something like that are predefined. We could do, but we're definitely not making this open-ended. I'm here for some chaos mode, but that would be too much. So there's the Tauri plugin WebSockets API, and that API bit is, this is just an example. If we look at, it's in guest.js. For the most part, it's just making that WebSocket connection. So it's doing the listener stuff for us, similar to what we have in our stream overlay with Affection. So we get this publishes two pieces. It publishes the JavaScript side of it, which we don't necessarily have to use. We can pull in bits and pieces of that if we want directly, but it also gives us the Rust side of things. So the subscription, in tandem with what the front end is doing, the front end isn't actually making the WebSocket subscription. The backend Rust side of things is doing that. And I think we decided that it was chords. I think John actually mentioned it last stream. Yeah. I don't have the highlights aren't working right now. I think there's the bit that aren't working. Oh, they did there. So what was loading? Something said it was loading. What did I don't know. Either way. Yes. Well, I mean, probably would be fine, but I know well enough that would be way too much chaos mode. All right, so we need to hook this up in the Rust side of things. So we're going to pull in this, and then we'll pull in this. JavaScript will connect to the backend. The backend will do the actual WebSocket connection. So if we go into here and here, invoke handler. Whoop. I've been doing a lot of dev. To Git. Okay, whatever. I'm fine with a Git for right now. So Option and Alt are different on Mac versus Windows. So I keep accidentally pressing one versus the other depending on which I've most recently worked on. I think we've got it published, but I'm not 100% certain. It should work either way. Maybe not. So we're getting a bunch of type stuff. For a quick read, let's run it again just in case. Because it might have actually done that compile. Yeah, okay, good. Oh, not good, but it's consistent. It requires Tokyo tungstenite. Do you have a list of crates, or a link to crates rather? So this, I don't want package JSON, I want the Rust side of things. Tauri. I'm making sure that, okay, so it specifically pulls in, okay, it does pull these pieces in. That might be something that we want to include in the docs. So these are the bits that it appears we're throwing errors on, and we didn't have, and our example does. That is one of the benefits of an example. It's good to have this kind of stuff in the documentation, but if you have something that you can run to check to make sure it's working, it's easier to write code and develop against. But also if it's broken, it's much easier to know not to push it. Whereas the mechanisms to make sure the docs are up to date and current and actually working, it's getting pretty good in Rust. You can write tests in your docs now, or vice versa, or you can use your docs in tests. I don't remember. So it's getting a lot better. So it's getting a lot better to make sure that the docs that you write are actually going to work. JavaScript and TypeScript, on the other hand, are still one of those things where it's nice to have an example to go off of, because knowing that, like, all this should be fine. So it looks like we just need this API package. We are gonna then do, oh, interesting. Interesting. I'm pretty sure we had this like officially published, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So Cargo is a lot better at this. If you've worked with Rust at all, the ability within Cargo to work within the context of a monorepo and then pull in code from external, not just specifically the Cargo registry, and pull it from a location, either a Git reference or a path reference that is also a monorepo. It's impressive. Like, this is all you need, and it works. I hope that the JavaScript ecosystem will eventually get to that point. Okay. We're not on the most recent everything, I don't think. Yeah, like we're still on older version of Tauri. We might want to just bump that. I don't think we're going to run into any specific issues. Let's do that. I think we'll probably be fine. And while that is... That's gonna give us the most recent, right? Or do we need? Do we need to do cargo update? I don't remember now. We might need to do a cargo update. It's a thing, right? Cargo. Cargo. Yeah, cargo update. Could not find. Yeah. Okay, so this should give us the most recent version of Tauri. We are going to likely need to, download and recompile. But that should put us on Tauri version 1.5. So for paying attention to the compile here, it should say Tauri 1.5. But while that is doing its thing, we can take a look at our app here. So the main app, it pulls in this window creation component, and this is the thing that ends up effectively holding our state on what windows exist. We've got this use state. So windows in this component is the thing that's holding the state for any existing windows. So I think if we would want to do any type of communication with like a WebSocket endpoint, that's going to happen there. Svelte. So effectively, this is what we're looking at doing. I don't really want to do this in an use effect or anything like that. We might just hard code something in there with like a connect button. So if we go into here, we'll do an import. That'll give us the WebSocket, and then we update response. Oh, this function, okay. So we get this. I think what we can do then is say, what would be an easy way to include this? I probably just want to add a button in here that would, so create window, remove window. What do we have in here? We've got so we've got the Windows map here. If we would want to allow somebody to create a window, we would need to be able to connect to a WebSocket endpoint, add a command. That command would then send a message over the WebSocket, which we're listening to. We'd receive the WebSocket message event here, at which point then we would call set windows. How do we want to do? So I guess maybe we do on app. We've got a window control nav, window controls. Preview, please. Preview of what? Okay. So we have the actual like nav buttons up here, because we have the window Chrome, normal native minimize, maximize, close buttons are not shown on this window, because we just have it like turned off at the global level. Don't show any Chrome on any windows because it's easier. So in our app, if we then say, I think we can do something like async. We will make a WebSocket connection here. And then in window creation, we don't need this. We want the import here. So we connect to WebSocket, and it's going to be, in our case, a localhost 7890, which is the port that streamer.bot is running on. So we should be able to connect. Maybe just say return WS. No. There's probably... Is it worth pulling in a library to do this for us? When you're looking at examples, what you might say AWS in it, what you might see is that they'll use something like useEffect to make some like fetch within React. You can do a fetch within useEffect because it's effectively a side effect that then is updating state. It's fine for something like a base like bespoke example, but the problem then is that everybody copies that bespoke example, and now you're in a situation where it's not the best pattern, which is why it's not the best pattern to have, because you run into a lot of like race condition parallel side effect type bugs in that situation. So using a library which handles all of that like extra boilerplate to set it up in a way which works in an actual example with a couple lines of code. On click. So we want to fire WS and net. So this should give us a connected WS. We then would say we should have WebSocket within state, in which case we can go to window creation and say, here's the WebSocket instance. So if I did everything right, really fat fingering things here. We should, when we click on this, I must be logging Windows somewhere. Get a WebSocket connection. Use callback. Use callback. We might need to do 127.0.0.1. So this is the other bit. What kind of, like, if this isn't working, where do we go to debug it? So it's not firing. That's weird. At least it doesn't seem to be. This should at least tell us that the button click is working. Okay, we're getting the button click. Are we getting all the way to the point where we're setting that WebSocket state? No. So WebSocket is imported from Tauri plugin WebSocket API. It's null. We click this. We are not getting. The WebSocket Connect is never returning. I suspect we can add some error handling in here to help us out a little bit. Yeah. So WebSocket Connect is thenable, which means that we can do a catch and a then, or we can do then and catch with on the. Okay. Off of the WebSocket.connect. So connect, response, catch. Okay. And what is our function? Response. Let's just log right now. Let's see where we're at. So we should now. Yeah, okay. Native TLS error. Unexpected end of file during handshake. Or end of, well, UF. UF is end of file, right? I'm pretty sure. It's just a little bit confusing in this context because file is a little ambiguous. So localhost. Let's give it a refresh here. Okay, it's not that then. Well, it's not localhost. 127.0.0.1. Localhost and 127.0.0.1 is effectively the same, but not always perfectly the same. And I don't remember exactly what the caveats are there. Couldn't find callback ID in window. Oh, okay. We are calling WebSocket Connect to this endpoint, and then we should be logging the response or catching it. Log response and connect it. And our plugin is literally just calling init on it. The guest.js is doing a WebSocket connect and adding listeners. So we have a WebSocket class, and it gives us a disconnect, a send, and an add listener. We can do an add listener on the this.listeners. Okay. Yeah, see, this is everything kind of comes back to this invoke. We're using the invoke. It's doing some lift on. And evoke is firing off to the back end. So we're doing the callback we're returning invoke, of which we're doing a WebSocket plugin WebSocket connect, and that's the piece that's communicating to the back end Rust plugin, which is here. So we don't. Is there any other updates that we need to do? Possible that we might want to bump all this stuff. 5, 6. I don't remember if it's gonna make a difference. Let's go ahead and bump all this just to be certain here. Should be fine running on the latest. npm outdated. Is there anything else that we need to preact? Preact and Vite. We could potentially update Vite. Vite's a little bit behind, but it's fine for right now. Let's run it again. And I really like shifting my camera around here. It's I'm way moved over from where I normally sit. All right, connect. Nothing. We are getting null. It's firing. I'm presuming it's firing off some async work, because when we call WebSocket connect and then catch, we're not getting a log at all. So it's doing something, or we're just not seeing it at all. If we look at the WebSocket plugin itself, let's look at the example. The let's see, plugins, WebSocket. It is within the main.rs, spinning up a separate WebSocket server. So we are calling Tauri plugin WebSocket init. It's doing this. Oh, interesting. Look at that. We're getting errors now. It's coming through. It's just sits there and spins trying to make the connection. So it's having troubles with the native TLS error. And I wonder if this ends up being fine because error during the WebSocket handshake occurred. I'm guessing we're in that. WebSocket TLS error. I thought it would be fine. Oh, and actually I'm looking at this now and it does specifically say my address is this. So let's take a peek though at the, you still have it open? No. The other app that we made for the stream overlay, and double check the connection there because it should be, oh, WS. Yep, WSS. That's the secure version. I don't need the secure version. That would be the TLS handshake. There we go. So now I'll give that a refresh. If we connect, here we go, connected. Now we have a WebSocket that has an ID and listeners, and it should be available then in our WebSocket here. So if we would say, now we need to do some events. When we make a connection, we need to subscribe. And actually, let's go back to this, because it's the same situation here. What we're looking to do is we're looking to make a connection and subscribe to specific events, because then those events we would be able to listen to. So when we have an event in streamer.bot, so something coming in through like a YouTube message, that would trigger, if you write a command in streamer.bot, or excuse me, if we write a command in YouTube, it would show up in streamer.bot as an event under the command triggered. Now, if we when we connect via WebSockets, we need to specifically subscribe to events. So we're going to subscribe to the command triggered event, and then we should receive all the events in this WebSocket connection. So I'm going to grab this little bit. We can do that when we first make the connection. So we can say, now I don't know if that is, I think I grabbed that. Yep. So I don't really need any of this. Let's just listen to commands. So this should give us a subscription, which means that we'll receive events for the commands. So then if we in our listener, we should then be able, or in our window creation, we should then be able to listen for events. And that, how do we want to listen for events? I don't have like a, in the other setup with affection, I have a channel which then receives all the events, and we can just basically like make a subscription to that that channel. But we don't have that here. Well, let's hit save. Let's give this a try real quick. Refresh, connect. It's not specifically saying anything if it worked or not. Do we see? I don't think this is actually current. I don't think that actually shows anything. So I wouldn't I'm not too worried about it not showing up there. So if we go back to the plugin, what else is it doing? So it's sending a message and it's disconnecting. And we've got buttons. So there's a send and a disconnect. What we want to do is listen for a specific event though, of which we don't have any specific docs on it. But there is an add listener. I'm guessing we could just do use effect for now. React WebSocket listener. Oh, I wouldn't. Yeah, stay signed up. I wouldn't be thrilled with just doing use effect, but it's probably fine just for the moment. I mean, literally coming back to like set it up properly, it takes a little bit of work, which doesn't serve well for React to use WebSocket. And that's basically what we're doing with like affection. But it's a little bit more generic, and then we can wire up a little bit of our own integration there, whereas these other ones are less. Socket add event listener. So effectively what we would want would be this, where add event listener would receive events. So I guess what we could do is we could say we would need some way to like pop them off the state and whatnot, but that might be fine if we just say const messages, maybe set messages, use state, and we'll give it an empty array. So we're going to subscribe to commands, and then we're going to say WebSocket add event listener for messages. So we should see any events coming through. And then we could say something like set messages and say message dot concat, and that needs to be items. So message. Event.data. And then if we pass this down, that should I want that to be messages, actually. I don't know if I set it here. Message, send messages. Okay. So when we connect, we should be add event listener is not a function. Ooh. WebSocket send. WebSocket. So we've got to connect. Async send. There's a sync add listener. Oh, it's just a add listener. Okay. Okay. Now, if we add a command, we're going to add a new command. We're going to say hide. It is going to be called hide. We're probably going to want more context there, because we'll need some context around like positioning it and whatnot. But we can play around with that later. Then I'm going to say add hide. It's going to be group reward filters, queue default. Let's do stream events. And this is going to be, actually, I don't even know if I need it in the actions. I guess to trigger it, it's going to be easier. Or getting in a little bit of streamer.bot here. Oh, cool. I didn't realize you could do that though. Messages here. Commands. Command triggered. We want to listen for hide. All right. So now within here, we can trigger this command being called. So test trigger should trigger it. In which case I would expect us to then get a message. This also needs to be YouTube. Okay. With WebSocket, does it run on Linux? I read this like, I mean, it was a while ago. I read it like a whole bunch of times already, and I just never responded. Sorry. Does WebSocket run on Linux? I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure it does. I guess I've never really looked into it. I don't run. It's got to. Because when you set up a WebSocket server and potentially a client, a lot of that happens like within Docker containers. So I'm pretty certain it does. But to be honest, I haven't actually like specifically thought about it. Okay. So we are listening for commands. We should be able to, like, if I would trigger the power up command, we're not seeing anything. So I don't know that it's actually, it's possible our subscription isn't working. We are subscribing and we are listening for messages. I'm not seeing any messages. I'm going to rather, whoop. Oh my goodness. I'm back over here. Press the wrong button. Too much Mac. I'm going to add the event listener first and then send. This send should, I think the subscription returns something. Where's that 44 window? Okay. I might just take that off. Don't really need it right now. All right, so reconnect. We're getting connected. That's showing up on app 11. So we're getting a log response. So connected happens. We have a WebSocket connection here. And we've got listeners for message. So we're listening on message. Let us double check versus what we have in our stream overlay. We are now, yeah, okay, so we're listening for message. We should be getting a event.data. So this should be showing up somewhere. It's not showing up. Couldn't find callback ID in window. I suspect it has something to do with that. Use callback. Oh, did we? Wait. Oh. We're doing use callback, which do I need to guess I really don't need to. I think use callback does it has a dependency, right? I think that's what that error was. So we're definitely not getting any responses back. I'm gonna do the same. Part of the reason I was doing these was specifically with the intent to make sure that my subscription worked as expected, but also I could more easily explore. And I think send is async in this API. So if we do that, oh, I think async is, or I think send is async. Yep. So we weren't listening for it. That very well might have something to do with our issue here. Let's do a refresh and connect. Invalid message type on websocket.send. Okay. Yeah. Guessing we need to stringify this. We are connected. I'm not seeing any commands triggering though. I'm also not seeing these. So we're connected. We're to this point. We add a listener. The WebSocket does say that it has a message listener. We are doing an await send, which should, I don't know if we can actually see. I haven't looked in here. I thought we could get events in here, but I'm not seeing it now. So it's queuing it up, it's sending it. I don't see anything that'll let us see that we're receiving at events. So we should be, when we send get events and when we send subscribe, those should be am I doing anything specific with the subscribe? This should be returning a message, I'm pretty certain. Based on what we're doing here. When we do a send, we're not actually logging anything here. We're getting a log from the message. So I think we get a message back that says the events. In which case, if we send here and we have a listener, we should then expect that we're logging something. And we're still getting an asynchronous thing happening here. on the Rust side of things. So it's entirely possible that we're still hitting an issue there. Let's do the same on the subscribe just to make certain. And connected. Could not find callback ID in window. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's entirely possible that yeah, let's double check to make sure. I want to make sure that the version that we're playing in isn't V2 specific. I don't think it is. But I cannot remember. Tauri WebSockets. So we have a V2 alpha. We're pulling in from that branch, so it is entirely possible that. And okay, so this is the bit. Alpha. But I don't know that it's required to work with V2 Tauri. Let's go check out the API real quick. Plugins, WebSocket, Cargo. So it's using the workspace, cargo.toml, of which it says Tauri v1. Okay, so I think we're good. I think Tauri v1 is fine. And we're getting a all right, there's messages here. We're not getting an unable to serialize. The plugin adds an invoke handler. And we get a command. So that command then has a message, of which could be text, binary, ping pong, or close. We are getting a connection, and it's not specifically throwing an error. We have the handle to the instance. But this is really weird. Cannot find callback ID in window. So it could very well be something to do with this setup. I could potentially move the WebSocket part out. Outside of the use callback. I don't know that the use callback is specifically giving us issues though. Let's just give it a shot though. I think there's some This is not quite a true WebSocket connection here. It's like a special integration. I'm curious if we've got some we would need like a top level await. How do we deal with this? Oh, no. I want to look at the examples. I want to look at source. Here we're doing an on mount, firing that off. That gives us a WebSocket. Then we can do a send. Send is a promise, and that has a then and a catch. So we could try the let's do catch and say error console.error. Oop. We'll leave this in here. Alright. Refresh. Connect. It appears to be working fine. Okay, that was I think my error from before. Whoops. Update response. So update response, if it's a string, then return directly. Otherwise, if it's not a string, then we assume we need to stringify it. And then add a break. That's kind of interesting. Are we getting any messages or anything? Message null. Interesting. Okay, so send message, and then it's just a message sent. Okay, so I guess it's not actually there's nothing there to. It's not returning any information, but we're not catching an error here. So I would expect that if we have this. We have an event listener. We should be getting events. We connect, and then I guess almost if I do a use effect, then I could clean up and close the connection. I think that when we get all those like Tauri events, I think it's because we didn't clean up that connection. So like if we would connect and then refresh, I think that's when we get all of the. We connect again. that's when we get a bunch of these events from Tauri saying that we didn't. I think it's because we're not cleaning up that actual connection. I don't think that's causing an issue, but it is entirely possible it is. I don't see any other WebSocket client. I don't see a way to see any information about like logging information within StreamerBot, which is unfortunate. It seems to be connecting. We seem to be getting something, but when we do WS send, we are giving it hi. You're moving around my green screen. So this literally has a button, which effectively should be working the same. Let's grab this. Let's grab this real quick. We're gonna just try it. I want to make sure that things are working, and it could very well just be this connection that we have here. I don't have the workspace on this computer. Git clone. I think this should still be in v1. So if we would go to, this should be, this should be a monorepo. So we should then be able to say cargo run example. I don't know if we might need to go into that directory. And a WebSocket. Plugins. Oh. My music ended. All right, I think we'll go a little bit longer on this than we're gonna end up calling it. There we go. The stars don't seem to be aligning on this anything working today, I swear. Svelte app. Okay. So this should run, create a Tauri app. No example target. Oh, because I'm probably gonna have to install. Okay. Because it's not truly. It's not truly like a Rust thing where you could run it. Because this is Feld. So I think I can do npm run. All right, we have PNMP. and I don't blast. So this is used in PNMP. What didn't I like about it? Here. Oh, because of the link. Okay. Plugins, WebSocket. We'll install here. So then I think we can go into the examples and say npm run Tauri dev. Missing script Tauri. Okay. I'm trying to avoid setting up all the extra stuff. So this repo is set up to work with PNMP, which I seemingly don't have installed. Oh, Svelte. npm run Tauri dev. There we go. Tauri is not recognized. It's definitely right there. We've got it right here. So if I do an npm I, unsupported URL type link. Is npm npm link uses I just say path? Is it path? I'm pretty sure you can do this with npm too. Unsupported URL type. Maybe I end up having to pull in PNMP. I just want something to work. We ended up just like coming back to this in a week or 3. Packages and modules. Download. I don't think this is what I want. Alas, no. There should be here. No. npm package JSON local package. I've been using Yarn a lot lately. Yarn and PNMP have the same file. Really? Okay. Just go. I don't really care about the dependency resolution right now. I don't think the dependency resolution is going to matter. So npm run Tauri dev hopefully now works. Before dev command terminated with a non-zero. We are just not having any luck. Before, okay. npm run. Beat started. We should be getting a compile now. Okay. Now, if this works, we are running a Tauri app with Svelte. We can, and the Tauri app is also starting up both the, like on the Rust side of things, it's starting up a local WebSocket server, plus configuring Tauri to connect directly to it. So it's sort of like talking to itself, which is a little bit a little bit funny, but should it work as far as examples go? And then we can, I'm guessing it's something with the streamer.bot connection. In which case, I don't know. Maybe we end up pulling it back up on stream or something later, but okay. The following packages contain code that will be rejected by a future version of Rust. It panicked. Uncategorized. The application has failed to start because its side-by-side configuration is incorrect. Wow, we are just like... That is certainly a new one for me. Just gonna give it another shot. There seems to be, I mean, I wasn't really expecting that to work. Rust backtrace. See if I can get any more context here. SRC interface. I don't know if this is gonna be something we figure out today. This seems fine. All that seems fine. SRC interface Rust desktop. Where? I don't think that's in this. I don't think that's in this monorepo. Guest.js. Oh, hey, look at that. It's like a template for all the publishing parts of it. I don't think we've got any, what is that then? So it's watching, finished. I mean, it's possible it's something in here. But then this is a whole other rabbit hole. We might have to chalk this day up to stuff not going right and come at it again another day. Because it doesn't seem like I can even get it drawn here. At the very least, it seems like what we have hooked up here within the within Redacted appears to be something that should be working. We get a connection. With a listener for message. Is it message or message? I mean, I copied that, right? So it should be right. Message, yeah, on message. So we've got a message listener. What other listeners could we add even? Close air. Ooh. Let's do on listener error. And then this is going to be, I guess we'll just grab this whole little bit here and say error from server. And yeah, okay. Yeah, we'll just log out the whole error. So we'll just say event. Now, are we going to get an error? Because that would actually give us something potentially useful to work off of. Nothing. We're not getting any events. No events whatsoever. There's also open an error. I don't know if I can give it an array. Open. Oh, I mean, I've got error already. We've got close, error, open. So message, open, close. And then close. Just listen to all of the things. See if we're getting any information at all. Make a connection. We're seeing WebSocket connect. And we've got listeners for every one of these. We trigger something. We should be listening to messages, but we don't get any response whatsoever. So if I think the events at that point should be fine. It is doing a WebSocket, so ws.send .then, because we're getting a null, so like it's returning and not catching, but we're just not seeing anything. So weird. Okay, I got one last thing to try. If this doesn't work, you're going to throw in the towel for today. So we need to, let's see, subscribe events. Let's make sure I've got events and a list. Events. I had some abstraction there. So when we call subscribe, we are doing ID and events. And if we look at what we had set up here, we've got an ID and a list. So then we say, okay. When we send, we are sending so request and ID. So request should be subscribe. ID should be subscribed. And then we need to give it an events. And events is going to be, I call it list. It's not really a list, but, and we're JSON stringifying the whole thing. So list is going to be this bit. So events and Not sure why I did it that way, but you know. And we're JSON stringifying the whole thing. Okay. Refresh. Connect. Nothing. I'm not getting any response. So there must be something happening on the Rust side of things. Now we might need a little bit more context or helpers in there to give us an assist here. New WebSocket host. We're connecting. So I think we've got at least the initial wiring set up. But this like sending events. Socket send. And it seems like we've got the message listeners or the listeners working. We're getting this response. We're adding listeners. The WebSocket class that we get back lists those listeners. We're not catching. We are giving it events, request ID, and we're specifically giving it JSON. If we did something like, or we're specifically giving it a string. If we would give it like a JavaScript object, we were getting an error on that before. So we're definitely like getting errors back. It's catching line 68. So it does that. We're getting there, and it's throwing an error. Invalid message type. Expected type string, data any object, or a string or a numeric array. So we could potentially do, what's type? There could be like serialization stuff going on back and forth. So if we would say data send, we're gonna do type. I don't know what the type would be. I have no idea. Invalid args message for command send. Unknown variant object. Expected one of. Here we go. Okay. It's going to either be text, binary, ping pong, or close. Okay. So if we would say, well, let's send a ping. Type ping. And I'm assuming we don't need any data in there. If you would do this, can we get a ping? Does ping work? Unknown variant ping. Oh, you gotta capitalize, I guess. Ping, capital ping. Invalid args message for command send. Invalid type map. Expected a sequence. Okay, so I think we're starting to get into the meat of it here. So this needs to be type text. I'm wondering if, we were sending a text. Oh, let's get rid of this one. I think it, well, I mean, we can do it this way. I think it is parsing it correctly. We're getting into the if we look at the source here, lib, we're getting into this bit here. Then we're getting a Saturday JSON to value for text. We got binary, text, ping pong, and close. Message frame. This value cannot be received. Okay. So I'm guessing we're getting a spawn window state manager. I think we're getting this. Because we're not getting an unable to serialize WebSocket message. So when we do a write send, we're matching the message and then we're sending that and then await. And it's not doing the connection found. So like it's firing off. So I wonder if there's some like missing expectation where what we're sending isn't what streamer.bot is expecting. Or something in that nature. Here we're doing a stringify message. We're literally just sending this. So it should be stringify JSON is what we're doing a WebSocket.send. And that's ultimately what it's doing there, including, well, it's doing a serialize. Where is that? What's that serialize doing? Send. So if we're saying text to message text, okay. Receive. Receive is where it does the Saturday JSON. Connect. Okay, so connect. On connect, we do the things. So on send, we're write comes from manager lock awake and mute. Which is the connection manager. Okay, so I mean it's basically just doing the sending the text WebSocket message to message text. There doesn't seem to be much going on. We could theoretically pull this in and maybe we would get some more debugging help here. But like this appears to be correct. I don't have any reason to think otherwise. Refresh. So this should give us a connection and we should be getting events. And we're not getting anything. Okay, well, one last thing to try. Let's grab the full list here. Just grab all the things. Right now we're doing 2 get events. We don't actually need that anymore. But here we're going to say, just give us everything. Give us everything that we have in our other integration. See if we get any responses. Okay. On callback. We're not going out of scope or anything, are we? On callback, where we're doing set WS. We're not like losing those listeners, right? I don't think we are. Oh man, we're not actually awaiting it here, but like, I suppose we can do it. Use effect. So this should give us fire off this thing on first load. What, let's see, use state, react compat. React hooks. I don't think that's gonna matter. Alright, can I read powers? Reading send. Fair enough. WS, we are doing, we're setting it there. Okay, so on first, if WS, so anytime WS changes, we want to rerun that. We're not getting anything. We're missing something. We're definitely missing something here. We're getting the boop, but we're not getting any messages whatsoever. So like, I'm guessing it's something with our like bespoke, just run the thing. I might just like hook up some WebSocket hook stuff later. We also have Preact in here, so like that's gonna be a there might be caveats there where we're not wiring up those hooks right, or we can't necessarily just grab something off the shelf. I'm sure there is some WebSocket thing for Preact, but you know, it's a whole other thing. Let's just add that listener in again. I don't know if it's like a weird thing or it's like going out of scope or something. I don't know. It's in there. I mean, it's showing up multiple times. Yep. Okay, well, we're chalking it up to it's just a day of things going haywire. We've hit our time though. I want to get the WebSocket stuff working, and I want to experiment more with connections. Next week might be a slightly different stream schedule. TBD. Keep your eyes peeled for that. But I'm definitely wanting to come back to this in the future. Get this this specific WebSocket integration working. Because it would be nice not to have to worry about like all the cores and whatnot, and handle like that part of state within Rust. I think that's an interesting way to do it. Yeah. Too bad we couldn't get more stuff working. We ran into a bunch of issues, but it is what it is. So yeah, next week I'll see how things shake out. I'm trying to get stuff scheduled. I'm not gonna make any promises though, so keep your eyes peeled. We'll see. Otherwise, have a good holiday if you are in the States and are celebrating. You know, all of them. At the very least, I assume all those deals trickle everywhere in the world at this point. But yeah, too bad we couldn't get it working. It's fine. Next time. Have a great rest of your week. Where's the button? Where'd my button go? There it is. Bye.